let's talk about relationships, and then I want to get your thoughts on three things that happened to me in Dubai from a perspective of a male. Relationships is a huge, huge topic, which I bet we can't even scratch the surface on, but we didn't really talk about it last time. And, maybe we really need to talk about it. Also, if you look at the statistics, it's shocking what's going on. I don't think there's very few countries on this planet that are actually reproducing enough to sustain their growth. The numbers from South Korea are shocking, as in like there will be no great grandkids ever again type of thing. I know they had a little uptick this year, I think with some government incentives, but it's down to like 0.6 or 0.7 reproduction rate, which just quickly compounds to where like you never have any grandkids anymore kind of thing. So it's kind of scary there as well. And then I also get to know a lot of men and women who seem to opt out of relationships these days. And whether you or maybe Saudi, other people say that the men replace it with porn and then the women are waiting for the right one because they're all looking to the top percentage. I don't know what it is, but they all seem to be opting out of that, which I guess is dangerous. I don't know, maybe some transhumanists would say it's not. So look, it's very open there. I'm just curious where you want to dive in.
Oh man, there's so many different entry points there. I mean, I think AI is going to disrupt all of that in a big way. It's going to be wild. I mean, my wife was speaking at a conference recently. She's a marriage and family therapist, and she was speaking at a conference with Esther Perel, who talks a lot about intimacy and sex. And there was a company there that had like an AI platform, and it was for everybody, but it was very clearly for women. And what it was that you could basically go in and put in some details about the type of man that you like and want. And then that AI platform would create a fantasy-based story where the character in the story was speaking to you, and you were the love interest in the story. And so the story was playing out as if you, the woman, was, a part of this AI fantasy story. And I think that's where it's going to get a lot of women. I don't think that it's going to be porn. I think it's going to be pretend highly emotionally intelligent AI agents that are specifically created to be this like male companion, with a deep voice, it's kind of sexy, that's always available, that can talk with her about all of her emotions, that can also, understands female arousal and desire and can, play with that. I think a lot of women I think we're going to see as many women fall prey to that as men have fallen prey to porn.
Scary. Well, I mean, poor AI is going to end up eliminating us all anyways. So you're just talking about the one subset that's going to use that for women. But it's scary when you describe that, because most men are oblivious to a bunch of those things that you just talked about, the arousal and the emotional and the fantasy and all that. I mean, most of us are pretty clueless to that. Every now and then we get it right. Maybe we're sometimes aware, but an AI, they could push all those buttons, even if they didn't physically exist, could easily could beat a man in person.
Yeah, it's interesting. I recorded this video, I think last year. I think it was called Women Are Disillusioned and Men Are Disenfranchised, something like that. But it was basically that women's expectations of what they should get or are entitled to from a man have, for some women, not all women, I have to preface that, otherwise I'm just going to get launched at, but for some women have become so unrealistic that the only version of the man that exists is the one in her head that can actually meet her needs. There's no man in the world. He's not a real person, right? So for some women, their expectations have just ballooned into, I want a man to be everything for me. I want him to be my therapist and my friend and my cheerleader and my business partner and my lover and my this and my, the husband to my kid, the father to my kids. And there's just this expectation burden. And so what ends up happening is that women are chronically disappointed by men. And you can see this in the comments online. It's like, well, men need to step up and men need to do
Investment Club. Today, I consider it the best investment that I've ever made. We get 4 projects presented a week by their associated CEOs. Personally, I'm completely blown away by the quality of these projects, and I know of nowhere else where I would be given this same opportunity. Each week that passes, I feel more appreciative of the fact that I'm a member of this group. The vibe was just tremendous. Everybody's on the same wavelength. We just clicked. Everybody listened to each other, enjoyed their company. It was just magical, magical. Take action. Don't take my word for it. Due diligence you need to do. And I really hope that someday down the road I see you in the club. It far exceeded expectations, without question.
This and many to do that. And I'm not disagreeing that some men aren't bad options. You know, they're just not mating and dating material. I get that. I understand that. But there are a ton of caliber men out there. And what's partially happened is that women's preferences have become so centralized to dating and relationship that for the most part, and I think in the last sort of like 10 years, and it's starting to shift now, men were trying to figure out constantly, well, how do I just meet a woman's needs and figure out what she wants and do what she, needs, and especially in more metropolitan areas. And so women's expectations have risen and risen and risen and risen. And you can kind of see this in the dating apps as well, where it was something like on Bumble. This is just one example, but a poll on Bumble showed that only 15% of women said that they would be willing to date somebody under 5'8". All right, 15%. So that's the average height of a man is 5'8", but only 15% of women are willing to date somebody underneath that. So, I think that dating apps have made it so that you can kind of go on there and try and create some, perfect artifact of a human being that you want to date. And you're like, I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to settle. Why should I settle? And there's a lot of rhetoric, I think, that is being told to women of like, never settle and never do that. And then on the other side for men, I think it's challenging because for a lot of guys, a couple of things have happened. Number one is the rise of anger towards women online and the frustration with dating apps. I know a lot of guys, and this again, when you look at the data from the dating apps, it's like the bottom 50% of men on Tinder get almost zero interaction and responses, right? Like that's insane. Imagine being 19, 25-year-old man, and you're trying to date and you're using these dating apps, and you've got a buddy who's 6'2", 6'3", and he's taking somebody home 2-3 times a week, different women, 2-3 times a week, and he's just having a great time. And there you are on a dating app, constantly swiping through, getting zero responses, very few conversations, almost no dates whatsoever. And you're like, well, what the hell's going on? So this perspective of, well, women only want the super high status, very tall, in good shape guy really starts to set in, and it becomes easy to be like, all women are the same. And, anger and frustration sets in. So I think there's this big gender war that's happening where men and women are really angry with each other, and it makes dating very, very challenging. I also think that everybody's turned into their own personal therapist that's diagnosing the people that they're dating. And I do think that women are more, they have a larger predilection towards this. Women generally tend to pathologize their partners more than men do, just having worked with men for a long time and couples. So I don't envy being out in the dating pool right now. I think it's very, very challenging. And I think that people are having a hard time value matching. They're having a hard time matching values. Like, I value X and you value the same thing. I value integrity and honesty and loyalty. I value these things. Do you value the same thing? I value respect in a relationship. And I think part of what's happened is that, and this is on the other side of the equation, is that for a lot of men, they either haven't known what it is that they want in a relationship, and so they're just trying to, fit into what they think women want, or what they want is to just have a whole bunch of fun and not really settle down. And they're in that sort of like top 5% where they don't have to, and they can just have a rotation. And I think this has created a bit of a tension and an issue in relationships where you see other people's relationships online all the time. And so there's this chronic comparison of, Instagram influencers, and their relationship looks a certain way and it's actually not. So you never see the fight, you never see the conflict. So I think there's a whole whack load of things that are playing into the sort of chaos that's unfolding in relationships.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.